All right, so this will okay. So this topic we're going to talk about today is going to be useful when we do the project. Um, and we'll kind of go over a little introduction of costing out ingredients today. I know some of you may have already done that in other lab classes. Okay. So when we're looking at this phrase right here, cost per unit, this word per means a division line. Okay. So if we were to write it horizontally, cost per unit, and then the word per gets crossed out. Okay. Cost per unit. So if let's say I have $2.50 for 1 dozen eggs. Well, how do I figure out what the cost of one egg is? Cost per unit. Okay. I do the cost, 250. And then when I want to say eggs, what's the equivalent eggs in 1 dozen? 12, right? So 250 for 12 eggs. You see how 12 eggs is equal to 1 dozen? So I do cost per unit. And now when I do 250 divided by 12, what do I get? 0.2, what? 8333. 8333 repeating? Yes. Okay. So we're talking about money here. So if we're talking about money, we're going to look at this third decimal place. And if there's a number, we're going to round up to 29 cents per egg. Okay. I know it's a 3, but every 3 times we do this, that equals 1 more penny. Right? And so if there's ever a number in that third decimal, we always round up to the nearest penny, which in this case is going to be 9. So we're going to make it 29 cents per egg. 29 cents per egg, cost per unit. Okay, we got that so far? We're going to do a couple of examples here. All right. So let's take a look. Hopefully you all on Zoom can see this. Okay. So this is an invoice from 2016. So coming up on 9 years. Holy cow, that's a long time ago. But this is an invoice that I would get when I was working up in Maine, right? So I placed my order. The delivery driver would come in, drop everything off, and give me a copy of my invoice. What do you think all these check marks are right here? Yeah, that I've actually received it, right? I've checked it off my list. So we'll talk about that when we talk about the receiving portion of the purchasing cycle. It means that I've actually received the product. Let me highlight, maybe that'll be easier to see. Okay. Then we have the number ordered. Okay. So you see most of it's 1 except for maybe the milk. I have two ordered. The pack is how many items are in that package. Okay. The size is the size of each individual package. And then the description, the price, extension is basically the price times how many is ordered. And that's how I kind of read my invoice. Okay. So if I'm looking at this Kellogg's right here, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Let's focus just on Kellogg's Rice Krispies. This line right here. Okay. What this is telling me is in this box, I'm going to have 4 bags right here. See, 4 is my pack size, and they're 27 ounces each. So think about when you go to the grocery store, you see all the like the bag cereal, right? So when I purchased it, I don't go and buy boxes of cereal. I'm feeding 60 people breakfast. So I just buy bags of cereal. Okay. Now I do order Kellogg's Rice Krispies, but Malto Meal, the Frosted Flakes are usually cheaper than Kellogg's. So I'm going to buy that because it's pretty much the same thing. Okay. But that's what this means. There's 4 27-ounce bags in this package right here. So how many total ounces do I have? 108 ounces. 108 ounces is what my total weight is. Okay, see how that works? So if I have a recipe, excuse me, if I have a recipe that is calling for 10 ounces of Rice Krispies, okay, how do I know how much those 10 ounces cost? Because I buy 108 ounces, okay? So let's work on this together. Let's do purple, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to write this on your paper. AP to recipe. AP to recipe. Give yourself a good distance with that arrow in between the AP and the recipe. Okay. So AP to recipe. My recipe is 10 ounces. Okay. My as purchased is $36.75 per 108 ounces. You guys follow me so far? So we pay $36.75 for 108 ounces. I need only 10 ounces. I need the cost of only 10 ounces. So we do cost per unit. Now, do our units match? Yes, our units match. Ounces and ounces. That's great. We have no other conversions to do because we're going from ounces to ounces. So now I just do the math. $36.75 divided by 108 ounces equals what? 36.75. 0.34. Okay, I'm gonna do it as well, just so I can make sure. So 36.75 divided by 108.3402, which means that becomes how much? We round up to the nearest penny, so 35 cents per ounce. Let me do a better 0 than that, or a better 5 than that. 35 cents per ounce. And now at 35 cents per ounce, we need 10 of them. $3.50. So of that 36.75, $3.50 represents those 10 ounces for that recipe. Any questions about how we got from here to down here? We're going to do some more examples, but any questions right now? Lydia, you're thinking?
I'm more wondering why would you go ahead and round it when you got the 34 point or the 0.3402? Why wouldn't you just multiply it by 10 then and then you would get $3.41 for your final charge?
Um, because what I would like to, if we were to multiply this whole long number times 10, then we get $3.40. And then 2 7s, we run up to 240 or 341. By doing this, by running up to the nearest whole penny, when you multiply this times 10 ounces, you get a nice even number of 350, right? And so by doing this, you're working with a little bit of wiggle room. So what if happens if somebody puts 11 ounces of Rice Krispies in your recipe? Well, that cost is going to be covered a little bit because you've rounded up to the nearest penny. Okay. So I like to, when you come down to the time to multiply this times the amount needed, I personally like to have it with the 35, like the whole cent number. Okay. Does that make sense? And you might get something different from a different professor, like in your baking classes or your lab classes. Hey, whatever they do, follow whatever their goal is. The reason why it's important to learn this is because as we go through the project, this is how I have calculated everything. So all of your quizzes to test your knowledge on the recipes is going to be having the cents rounded up to the nearest penny. Russell, did you have a question? No? Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Let's do another one. All right. So in this case, I'm going to do yellow. All right. So we're looking at butter in this case. Okay. So butter, I have 36 pounds of butter. Silver Source is the brand. Butter solids unsalted, grade A, $97.25. What this is saying is the pack is 36, 1 pound. What does that mean? 36, 1 pound.
36 package of 1 pound butter.
Exactly. So when I look at my box of butter, okay, I have 36 individual pounds of butter in there. Okay, so you buy it by the pound, right, at the grocery store. Well, put 36 of those pounds, and that's how I buy it when I'm buying in bulk. Okay. So if we're looking at the butter, 36 pounds, 97.25. Let's do our AP to recipe. So AP to recipe. Okay. Let's say our recipe calls for 9 ounces of butter. 9 ounces of butter. Our as purchased is 97.25 for 36 pounds. Do our units match? We do not. We have pounds and we have ounces. Okay, so we have to convert in some way. We have two options. First option, we could convert, just go from 36, the cost of 1 pound, and then go to ounces. The easiest way, the second way that I would recommend, bless you, is let's multiply 36 pounds by 16 ounces. How many ounces are in 36 pounds?
76.
576.
Okay, so 576 ounces. Now my units match. And now I can go ahead and do my division. So $97.25 divided by, I'll put it down here, divided by 576 ounces 97.25 divided by 576. Oops, I did multiply. We get 0.1688. So that's 17 cents per ounce. Multiply by our 9 ounces needed. $1.53. So that's how we get to from $97.25 to $1.53. As purchased to recipe, okay? This is a diagram that I came up with probably about 3 years ago at this point. And it really helped students visualize where the starting point is, which is as purchased, and the finish line is the recipe. And how do we get and how do we close that gap? Okay. Questions, comments, concerns about how we go from as purchased to the recipe? Okay. Yes.
You might have mentioned it, I might have missed it. Where are we coming up with the is the recipe like ounce? Is that theoretical or is it on the invoice?
It's not on the invoice. This recipe amount will come from your actual recipe. Yeah, I'm just making up that number for right now. Yeah. So whatever your recipe, think about the recipes you have in classes, right? Whatever your recipe says, that's where you're going to pull that information from. Okay. Let's do eggs. This one blows my mind. Because in 2016, June 15th of 2016, 15 dozen eggs cost me $9. So I basically get like a big box of, sometimes I don't think they sell $15, 15 dozen eggs unless you go to like Sam's or Costco, right? Or I think we get them by that quantity. I think sometimes at HEB you can find 3 dozen eggs. So take 3 of those boxes, or maybe 5 dozen eggs. 5 dozen eggs, put those boxes and do 3 on top of each other. So it's about like a good size box. 15 dozen eggs for $9. Okay. So let's do our as purchased to recipe. AP to recipe. Andrew, how many eggs are we using in our recipe?
6.
6 eggs. Okay, so half a dozen. Cool. Good example. Okay, and we have $9 per 15. See where we have the 15? So 15 dozen. 15 dozen eggs. Okay. $9 per 15 dozen eggs. So, what do we do?
I know how much is 12, 15 times 12.
So not 15 times 12. Okay, good. Let's do that. 15 times 12 eggs is how many?
180.
180?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. 180 eggs. Okay, and so $9 divided by 180.
20.
0.05.
0.05. So 5 cents an egg. We all agree? Cool. And we multiply that by the 6 eggs needed. And our total cost is 30 cents. 30 cents for those 6 eggs. Okay. You guys want to see another way we could do that? Let's see if the math works out. Let's try it. I'm gonna keep that 30 up there for a second. Okay. So an alternate way. How many dozen is 6 eggs? It's half a dozen, right? So if we do 0.5 of a dozen, now our units match. So if we do 9 divided by 15, $9 divided by 15 dozen, that's going to equal 60 cents per dozen multiplied by 0.5, and that gives us 30 cents. Okay, so I think this is a good example. Andrew, thank you so much for choosing 6 eggs, because this shows that you are not always changing the AP side. Sometimes we can change the recipe side to match the AP side. Okay, if I'm already in the cost of 1 pound, and I can change my recipe to a good even number, right? If it's 12 ounces, that's 3/4 of a pound, right? If I was doing 11 ounces, that would have made sense, right? It's hard to get that 11 out of 16 ounces. So in that case, I would go ahead and change the AP side. But if I can easily convert the recipe side to like a whole number or like an easily multipliable number, then you can absolutely change the recipe side instead of the AP side. Okay, so it can go either way. So look at this. I had the pictures from the Zoom covering up actually how much I had cost for 2 pounds, 6 ounces, and 9 eggs. It's all good. I like making things up as we go. So I'm going to introduce this in week 5 of the semester. Going to introduce this in week 5 of the semester. So if we go to the modules, here's the semester project module. Okay. I have on my to-do list today to get your course calendar and due dates assigned to all of your assignments. So I will have that by Friday at the latest, to make sure I have due dates. If you are in the assignments tab of Canvas, in the project module for the assignments, you have menu set 2. So anything that says menu set 2 on it is part of your project. Okay. Your project, you're going to cost out 10 different recipes as part of a menu set. Okay. Now, the beautiful thing is, through my extensive trainings in Canvas, I've learned how to create quizzes where you can type in the answers, right? And I've given you 99 attempts on every recipe. Okay. And you might think, why do I need 99 attempts to take a quiz? Okay. Because my goal is that you'll have 100% on your quiz. And to do that, you're going to basically take the recipe and put all of your answers down of what each individual ingredient costs, what the total recipe cost is, and the cost per serving. Okay. If for some reason you answer it and you get the butter wrong, well, then you can go back and just take your assignment, just take your quiz on the butter until you get the butter right. Okay. And then once you're done, you can go back and correct all the answers. Right. So let me give you an example. Let me pause the recording so I don't give you guys the answers. So as we're coming through here and I put my answer in, $1.10. And I put all my answers in. My grade is 0. Because we know the answer is 120, right? Well, let's say I go back and I do the work again, and I think it's $1.15. Done the work, great. I'm gonna submit it. Canvas is gonna tell me I have 7 unanswered questions. That's okay. I'm only working on the one right now. Still 0. Okay, now it's time for what? I've done it twice. I got it incorrect. Now it's time for, yeah. But what would you do if you got answered incorrect twice? What would you do?
Try again. I don't.
Try again, but before you try again, what would you might consider doing?
Move on to the next.
Not move on to the next.
Any other 2 options?
Who would you talk to if you didn't getting it right?
You?
Yeah, send me an email, Miss Uminski. I've tried this twice. I'm not getting it. Here's my work. So take a picture of what your work is, right? You can't just say I'm not getting it. Here's my work, and I'll be like, oh, this is what you did wrong. Okay, this is the step that got off. So I'll give you a recommendation, try it again. And then you're like, okay, I think I got it. Let me try it one more time. $1.19. I hit submit. I got it right. There's 1 out of 8, right? If you're only working on one question, then all you're looking for is a grade of 1 or 0. If you got a 1, that means you got it right. If you take the time to fill out all the questions that you got right the first time around, that takes up a lot of time, but then it's also hard to determine just on quick glance whether you got that right or not. Okay? Because you might get some of these correct as you go through. So out of the 8 questions, you may have 6, but you got to go back and maybe correct 1 or 2. Okay? So that's why I've given you 99 attempts so that you can go back one ingredient at a time by the ones that you missed. Hopefully you'll get some correct as you go. And as you do more and more, you'll get more and more correct. Does that make sense? Any questions, comments, concerns about that? Okay. Let's see. Day 2 PowerPoint. I got my invoices. Let's just for fun, let's just take a look real quick. The Chef Tech inventory list is what you're going to be using to get all of your ingredients. Eggs. Let's let it load up. Or I'll teach y'all this. How many of you are not familiar with the find function online? Okay, this is brilliant. So Control F, hold down Control, hit F, it'll bring up this little box right here in the top right corner. Okay. And then basically, you type in what you're looking for, and it shows you how many times that appears on this website. Okay. I can't tell you how many times this got me through reading like a 19-page article. Because I just look for keywords and it jumps right to that section of the paper, right? But let's say we're looking for eggs. So eggs appears 1 time, see 1 out of 1. And right now our eggs are $29.41 per case. Now this was 2020. So these prices are 5 years old. I would like to say I would go and update the prices, but that means I'd have to go and redo every quiz, and I'm probably not going to do that. So we're going to use 2020 prices. I would be curious to see what our eggs cost today. That'd be interesting. What else did we look at? I don't think we ordered Rice Krispie treats, but like rice. So we have a couple different types of rice. No Rice Krispies. What else did we do today? Butter. So butternut squash, we're not looking for that. We just hit enter. See how it goes. 1 of 6, 2 of 6. Almond butter, I'm not looking for almond butter. Butter, peanut butter, nope. Butter unsalted, 91.80 for 36 pounds. That's not actually too far off. Butter. Oh, it's actually cheaper than it was 5 years ago or 9 years ago. It's interesting. I think now though, I think butter's over $100 a pound. Or $100 for 36 pounds, I should say, sorry. I think it's close to $5 a pound. That we buy it. So 5 times 36. Yeah, I think it's probably close to about $180. So doubled in price. That's pretty crazy in 10 years. So yeah, you'll use this search function anytime you want to. Anytime you're on a website, Control F will pop up this box. It happens in Word documents, Excel, things like that as well. So you can always just do that search function. All right. That's all I have for today. Does anybody, let's review, because I will do, you look at the assignments really quick. Defining control. This quiz is going to be, or this assignment is going to be due on Monday. Okay, this basically covers chapter 1 information. So defining control will be due on Monday. I would recommend one of 2 things. I would recommend that you just do it today since we still have 35 minutes left of class. It would take you less than 35 minutes to do, I'm pretty sure. I would recommend you do it here in class, or it will be due on Monday, okay? Or you can do it at home. How many points is it? 20? All right, if you get it done today before 3:15, I will add 5 bonus points to your assignment. So I'll add 5 bonus points if you finish it before 3:15. Defining control. Okay, so defining control, let's look at this. We have 5 questions to answer. You can answer them in a text box. What I would highly recommend that you do is that you copy and paste this into Word. Do it in Word so you can do a spell check, because you'll notice that grammar is part of your grade. Okay, so you can do a spell check, and then you can copy and paste. You can upload the Word document, or you can copy and paste it into the text box. Okay, please do not use Google Docs. For whatever reason, if you upload a Google Doc, it doesn't come through when I try to see it to grade it. So please avoid using Google Docs. Again, you can use it to type it, do your spell check, and then copy and paste it into the text box, please. Okay? So before 3:15, you'll get 5 extra bonus points. Now it's 5 bonus points on top of what your actual grade is. So it's not going to be a guaranteed 25, but it's 5 extra points on top of what your actual grade is. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, for those of you who are on Zoom, I'm gonna go ahead and log off. So I can start processing the video, but same thing for y'all. If you want to, actually, before you do that, hold on, don't go anywhere. Let me do my quick, y'all can start working on your assignment. I just need to do something real quick. If you don't want to do the assignment, you can go home. If you are, well, you can use those computers if you want.
It's more than I accidentally did it.
What's that?
It's more than I already did it.
If you already did, that's fine.
I did it last Wednesday.
Or if you have it on your phone, you can do it on your phone.
I'm gonna do it at home, be really close.
Okay. The library is also just right across the street. So I have 4 people on Zoom. Okay, cool. I'm going to end the session. Thank you all so much. We'll see you on Monday.